Okay, this is part 2. I got cut off halfway through, I don't know how. I did waffle for a whole 10 minutes, but it only recorded 5, so I'll give you part 2. So as I say, we went to see the panel, and I got a letter on the 11th of July saying your appeal has been approved, and we'd like to give you the funding for the surgery. So I was obviously over the moon, absolutely fantastic, great news. 11th of July that was, and the end of August I hadn't heard anything, so I went to see my doctor and he said he'd chase it up. Next thing you know, I think it was like the 30th or 31st of August, I get 2 letters. One saying I've got to go up to London to meet my surgeon, and another one giving me an appointment 6 weeks later to meet a nutritionist. So I was like, okay, great, the ball is rolling, this is fantastic. Go up there, and having discussed with my GP my weight loss surgery options, we basically assumed I'd be getting the lap band. So I did what any woman who's as crazy organised like me, I'm pen and paper and lists everywhere, and I have to be prepared, have to be organised. So I looked up the lap band, the downsides, the upsides, all the negatives, all the positives, so I could, rather than go and waste the surgeon's time, I know exactly what I'm in for, and I can make an informed decision as to whether I think it's worth the risks. So I get there and I'm all happy about having a lap band, talk to my surgeon, and he says, I don't think we're going to give you a lap band, we're going to give you gastric bypass surgery because I think it'll be more successful with your condition. Obviously it's not just restrictive in what you eat, but it's the absorption as well. With polycystic ovaries, that's what concerns me, how you absorb the calories in the food and fat stores, etc. If we want to have a chance at helping your polycystic ovaries, a band, one, is going to take too long, and second of all, you're still going to have issues with how you absorb it and the insulin, etc. So I was just like, when you're just so high and so like, wow, this is a big long journey, 6 years for trying, and suddenly something's going to happen. I mean, in those 6 years I did everything my gynaecologist had asked me to do. I had to go on specific diets and had exercise, and I was a pincushion for months. It was like blood tests and blood tests and blood tests, and every test known to man I was doing, and I was happily willing to do it because it would benefit me in the long run, but it was at times irritating. So he hits me with the bypass surgery, which I'm not prepared for, I'm not organised for, I've not researched. So I was like, oh, are you sure you don't want to give me a lap band? Because that's what I got my head around. I'm having a lap band. Then he tells me gastric bypass is saying it's going to work. Not that I'm opposed to the surgery or I'm like, oh, that's not going to work for me. In my mind, the band was like, well, if they put the band in and I don't like it, or I don't feel right, or I'm not well, I can just take it out. With a gastric bypass, it's forever. It's not like, oh, I don't like it anymore, can you take it out, or I don't feel right, or I don't feel healthy, get rid of it. I know that's not an option. So I was like, oh my god. So my husband was fantastic. He was with me and he was asking lots of questions about like the diet, what you'd have to eat before, during and after, and what the surgery was like. And the surgeon was, I must admit, he was really patient, and he sort of went through everything with us, explained the success rates and the risks as well, because obviously I need to sort of take that on board. And so I left meeting him sort of very bewildered, thinking, oh no, so I got straight home, straight on the computer, research, bypass, what's it all about? And obviously stumbled across everybody else's videos in the meantime, on weight loss surgery, that is. Notice there's not many people in the UK making these videos, which is probably a blessing, because I wouldn't like anybody to stumble across mine that I knew. Not that I'm trying to hide anything, but obviously I'm doing this for support for me, but also, future support for other pre-oppers when I'm post-op. It's a kind of give-take thing, isn't it? It's like, like an example, Katie July, who I watch quite a lot, hers is like, you watch her videos and, you get so much from it. So I'm hoping that by making videos of my own, I can give something to somebody else. That's my plan. So he then tells me, back to what I was saying, told you I was a waffler, Surgeon then said you'd have to wait about 3 or 4 months, which is fairly quick, to get an appointment to have the operation. He said, your appointment in 6 weeks to see the nutritionist. I'm going to expedite and make it quicker and try and get you in a week or so to see her. And I was like, okay. And he kind of, he was really quite excited. And he was like, oh, you've got my approval and your funding's already in place. This is great, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, it's not great, My journey to have children started 6 years ago. And my journey to have weight loss surgery started in January. I just feel like I'm playing a big time game at the moment. And it's like, hello, people, I'm ready, I'm prepared. Put me on the table and do it, I know I'm probably not going to think that once it's done and I'm, on the liquid diets and stuff and doing the transition to, more solid foods. I know I'll probably think back now and think, oh, what was you saying, you crazy woman. But I just feel like I've waited so long. And not just that, I don't want it to seem as if my whole journey with my weight loss surgery is just for children, to have children, because it's not. I mean, my weight obviously affects my health. My ankles swell up, I ache all over sometimes just for no apparent reason. I huff and puff when I get to the top of a flight of stairs and think, oh, I do stay positive, and I think to myself, well, at least I can climb the stairs. There are people who are less fortunate than I am who can't even get up the stairs, so I'm not going to complain about being a bit overweight, well, morbidly obese, as I said in my previous video, and moan because I can't get upstairs. But I mean, I used to be so active, even like a stone ago. I was really active, aerobics, everything. But now, my ankles, if it's a high impact thing, jumping around like aerobics or the gym, my ankles are in so much pain the next day, it's just not worth going. My quality of life completely slips just from exercise. So now all I can manage is swimming, and I go twice a week, and it's hard because I physically want to do more, and I just physically can't. It's a bugbear sometimes, and I do get frustrated with myself a lot. But as I've said, my husband is really, really supportive. He's known me as big and loves me as big, so I'm really happy with him. And I know in his heart, he has said he is worried about my health, especially as I get older. But obviously I don't want to be in a position when you get married and you settle down and stuff, you do start thinking, 10 years time, where am I going to be? 20 years time, where am I going to be? Because you're that settled in your mind, you don't start thinking what's happening next week, because you're that settled, you think, I know what's happening next week, So I don't want to be thinking he's going to have to care for me when I get older because of ill health and because of being big, It's just not a nice position for me to feel in for him. But on a positive note, obviously it's been a nightmare having to do the time thing, waiting. I think I should have called my name, my code name on YouTube. It's the waiting woman or something. That's all I feel I've been doing is waiting. I do feel, since I've had the news that it's happening and I've got the funding, very, very bizarrely, I feel like I'm walking taller already, if that makes sense. I mean, I've always been very loud and proud and don't care if people notice me. But over the last sort of few months, I've been sort of, quick get in the shop and quick get back to the car and don't let anybody see you and put your head down, Whereas the last week since I've had the news that it's definitely happening and watched so many positive videos, I've been like, the shoulders back and the head held high and all trotting along thinking, I don't care, you wait to see me when I'm really skinny, can't wait. So I do try and see the bright side. I am going to get cut off very, very shortly, so I'll bring it to an end very quickly. I just wanted to introduce myself and say this is my journey so far. It won't always be 2 videos, I promise. I'll get more professional at YouTubing and not get cut off. Any questions or comments you want to post, that'd be great. I check it fairly regularly because I'm addicted. And thank you so much for everybody's videos because they have been a huge, huge help. Okay.